Hey everybody, you're watching a physio named Jonah. That's this guy. Please ignore the fact that I am currently sitting because today we talk standing desks. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my opinion on sit-to-stand desks from my perspective as a physiotherapist. I'll also be going through some tips that you can try out if you have one of your own, as well as share my experience using one, as my wife and I bought one a few months ago, so I've had an opportunity to use one for the past little while. If you are new around here and enjoyed this video, consider hitting the subscribe button down below and giving the video a thumbs up. This will notify you when I release a new video like this one, and also helps my channel a lot. So huge thank you to all of you out there who have already subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate it. Alright, so let's jump right in. I'm actually writing this component of the script while I'm videotaping myself using this sit-to-stand desk that we have in our basement. Here, you can see me use the mechanical component of the desk to get myself into a standing position. This is the crux of a sit-to-stand desk. It allows the variation in position from a sitting position to a standing position. What this also means right now is that as I'm saying this out loud in the video to you, you're in the process of watching me write these words down on paper. You're hearing a very different moment in time from the one you're watching, as you're watching me write the words before they've ever left my mouth at all and become something that you hear. Which also means that, in a way, you and I have now been locked into a time loop, with the temporal stability of this very video being torn apart by the simultaneous writing and creation of thoughts as you hear them and perceive them through your own ears in a way that's out of sync with the truest timeline all around us. The natural world has been absolutely abandoned, and you and I are stuck together in this vortex between time and space, lost in the void of nothingness that is right. As a physiotherapist, I'm actually really fond of sit-to-stand desks because of the flexibility in terms of positioning that they allow for people during their workday. It's not that sitting is bad and standing is good, it's the ability to switch between the two positions that actually makes sit-to-stand desks valuable. I talked about this concept a little bit differently a few years ago in one of my very first videos, which was talking about the whole sitting is the new smoking term and the vilification of sitting. It's one of my earliest videos and it has a lot of skits of me and my brother. It's still one of my favorites. If you're in for some silliness and learning about sitting and smoking, go ahead and check that one out. To be very honest, most of the issues that I see as a physiotherapist working with patients who come to me for pain with sitting at work or pain that happens while they're at their desk at work has less to do with sitting itself being the problem and more to do with spending 8 hours in a row in one position while moving very little. When you stay in one position for an extended period of time, of course your body is going to stiffen up into that position. You don't need to be a physio or healthcare provider to understand that if we spend all day in one position, our body is going to become stiff in that position. This can lead to a whole host of issues involving neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, all of which could be reduced or very likely improved and completely prevented just by adding more movement and varied positioning in throughout the day. Part of what makes this whole conversation very interesting is that back when sit-to-stand desks were first coming out, there were a lot of pretty wild claims being made about standing all day at work as opposed to sitting, and how standing was gonna like save us all from extinction and buy us all a boat or whatever. I also think that this is the image that comes to mind for most people when they think of a standing desk and how you have to use it. Yeah, this is how I keep my flexibility up. If you're not doing it, what are you doing? And let's be honest, nobody wants to be that guy at the office. While the benefits of standing during the day were very exaggerated back when sit-to-stand desk was becoming a more popular trend, I do think that there are a lot of benefits that come from being able to change positions throughout the day, and you definitely do not have to use your sit-to-stand desk like that guy. For being honest with ourselves, we all know that sitting for extended periods of time isn't the greatest thing. It's pretty well understood at this point. We all have smartwatches that yell at us when we try and just sit down and watch Love is Blind for 5 hours in a row, as a random example. So why are we even talking about this? Why aren't we all just moving around more? Well, many patients tell me that actually standing up or moving from their workspace can be a pretty big issue during the day, because that can interrupt their workflow and become a hindrance to actually getting the things done that they need to. This leads to them being stuck in that same seated position for 4 hours because that's what they either need to do for productivity and staying locked in on their computer, or they're stuck in virtual meetings where they have to be camera on and sitting in front of the computer screen for like 4 hours in a row. This is the situation that I think sit-to-stand desks can be really beneficial for, allowing a change in position without providing a large impediment into somebody's workday and productivity. I mean, look at me during the writing of this script. I just put this desk down from a standing to a sitting position while I was writing this, and it didn't exactly take me out of what I was doing. This means we get the benefits of standing up and being in a different position, and we're not going to be as stiff and sore at the end of the day because we didn't spend the entire 8-hour shift in one position. We varied between, at the very least, 2. As a side bonus, I also think that just being in a standing position for a period of time throughout the day while working at your desk makes it more likely that other forms of movement are going to happen. I mean, if we're being really honest with ourselves, when you're standing, it's going to be a lot easier to mix in a few little light stretches throughout the day, just shake things off a little bit in a not ridiculous way like that dude was doing. And it's more likely these things are gonna happen if we're starting in a standing position as opposed to having to get ourselves up from that sitting position that we've been stuck in for 3 to 4 hours and we're just feeling terrible. My recommendation for using one or getting used to using one if you're new or if you just haven't had great success with it in the past is just to make a little standing schedule for yourself. Schedule out 2 to 3 times during the day that you're gonna stand for 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Nothing crazy, it doesn't have to be stand for 4 hours and sit for 4 hours. You just want to gradually incorporate some standing position at the desk throughout the day. As you get used to using the standing desk, you can at that point schedule more times, longer times, or just transition between sitting and standing as you like and feels comfortable. The reason I think the schedule helps, especially at the start, is to make sure that you're actually using it and not forgetting to use the stand component. But then once you start to get a feel for it, you may just find that going based off of what your body wants in the moment is what works best for you and your productivity. Personally, I really like the ability to move up and down when I work, because as a physiotherapist, I'm a pretty fidgety person, so I do tend to like moving from one position to another. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't always use the sit-to-stand desk in the most effective way. I think that sometimes when I'm working, I generally work on something for like an hour or 2 at a time if it's editing or if it's writing. So I'm not in the one position for all that long, so I sometimes forget to even use a standing component, or if I come to the desk and it's in a standing position, I may just leave it in a standing position for the majority of the time that I'm working on it. In the time that we've had the desk though, and I have worked on something for multiple hours at a time, and I have altered positions from sitting to standing, I do find that I get less neck discomfort in the back because I'm not as likely to just be drawn in towards the computer screen while I'm editing or writing something. So there are a lot of personal benefits that I have noticed while using one. I will say that I'm not the best at using it consistently though. Final thoughts here, if you are someone who sits frequently for work, then a sit-to-stand desk can be a great addition to your workspace. They provide an easy change of position during the day and don't take you away from the work that you're doing. This change in position can help prevent stiffness and soreness that develops from being in one position throughout the entire day. If you're going to incorporate one into your workday, I recommend incorporating it slowly with a little bit of a schedule and then finding the balance that's right for you, which, if you take the time, I'm very confident that you will. So what do you think of sit-to-stand desks? What's been your experience if you've had the chance to use one? Feel free to share this with me in the comments section down below, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. But most importantly though guys, as always, move your body, have a laugh today, and I will see you at the next video.